Welcome to the Acecaponersc Show. I am that host. Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about Stephen Miller, Reilly Gaines, and Leticia James. There's so much stuff going on within the first 100 days of the Trump administration. Before we get started, if you like the podcast, please hit that like button, subscribe, tell others if you want to contribute. My Cash App and PayPal are down below as well. I am on Rumble and on X. I'll be uploading some of these episodes over there. If you want to contribute, I say, hey, please do. I'm not going to say no. Anything to help with better equipment to improve the podcast is welcome. Trust me, I won't say no. But yeah. Stephen Miller is a beast. I tell you, man, this guy is just beating the media up, and he's beating them at their own game. And we need someone who's going to be able to handle this corrupt, government-sponsored Democrat media, because the media is nothing but another extension of the Democrat Party. They're pushing narratives. These people are either playing dumb or they really are dumb. And Stephen Miller, led a master class when talking to the media about the gentleman from Maryland, Abrega Garcia, when he talked about his deportation. You have so many people in the media who are stuck. I think it's a script. It has to be scripted, because there's no way people are talking about an issue on a guy who isn't a citizen. They're not even asking about the victims of these illegals. They're so worried about, they're deporting these people and they have no criminal record. Well, they have no criminal record here. Doesn't mean they don't have a criminal record from where they come from. But they may not have a criminal record here, but they are criminals. And those who commit crimes here need more severe punishment. But the simple fact that you entered America illegally means you're still a criminal. And I don't care if it's a misdemeanor or a felony. You broke our laws. And you don't get to come in here, break our laws, and say, I get to stay. I'm sorry, it would be the same analogy. What the Democrats and the media are basically trying to ask you to believe is that if someone breaks into your home, don't call the police. You're supposed to ask them, hey, would you like to sleep in the guest room, or would you like to sleep in my room? Would you like something to eat? Would you like a snack later on? Hey, why don't you jump into my pool? Hey, would you like some clothes to wear? And that's basically what the Democrats are doing with the illegals. They're giving these guys the red carpet, and they don't belong here. They're giving them your tax dollars. They're giving them your Social Security. They're giving them your health care. They're giving their kids WIC. They're giving them hotel rooms, housing. They're giving them credit cards with money on them. And they're telling you, you shouldn't worry about those illegals. They're vote buying. They are bringing people in here to cancel your vote. And they're saying, hey, there's nothing to see here. Just go on about your business. And then we want you to feel sorry for these people. Just an anecdote. I have family members. And they sent out a post yesterday. We have a family chat. And they sent out saying, read this in the chat. And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, what the heck is this? It was a notice that says that all health care for illegals will end in July. And they posted, this is so sad. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Shake my head. And then the last straw was when someone posted, Trump is truly the Antichrist. This is how sick people are. Buying propaganda from MSNBC, CNN, Headline News, and the local networks. This is nothing but corporate legacy media distorting the facts. They push a fake narrative. They believe that if you ignore the facts, that the facts don't matter. And that's what they did with Trump. They don't cover the truth on Trump. They just tell you their story. But family members didn't understand that, hey, you're from Chicago, where they took tax dollars and they gave them to the illegals. The same tax dollars that they denied the black community that is suffering from lack of facilities, improvements on education, and aid for people. I don't believe in handouts, but if you're going to give a handout, it better be to people who live in America, not people who aren't citizens. They have no allegiance to this country. They can easily go back, and many of them are self-deporting now that Trump is in office. So they have the ability to go back home. And many of them said, hey, I'm not getting the handouts that I want, so they're going home. But Stephen Miller, I want you to watch this clip, schools these reporters who don't even understand what a withholding order is. And these are the people who are giving you your information in the form of news. It's not news anymore, people. It's propaganda. Check this out.
Gentlemen, the return, guys, do you know the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order? Do you know the difference? Any of you, please. Do you?
Well, we're not in the government.
But you couldn't even spend 72 hours over the weekend learning the distinction, even though you've been writing and talking about it this whole time.
Stephen, we're not going anywhere. On the gold cards.
Just raise your hand. Does any of you know the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order?
My question is, how do you know that he's a member of MS-13? The White House has repeatedly said, according to intelligence.
By the way, according to our government and his government. In other words, his government has confirmed based on their own intelligence that he's a member of MS-13. First of all, do you dispute that he's an illegal alien?
What's that?
Do you dispute that he's an illegal alien?
No.
Okay. And do you dispute that as an illegal alien, we have the right to deport him?
Going through the process.
He went through the legal process. So I want to be very... what I'm getting from this conversation, which is educational for me, is that not one person in the media knows the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order. Is that a fair statement? You're learning about this all for the first time right now? I guess so. Okay. So the deportation order means the judge has said he must be deported from the country. He has no right to remain here any longer. He must be removed from the country. So his only options are to be deported to his home country or another country. That's it. There's no other option. He doesn't get to stay here. He doesn't get to live here. He has no future here. He has no right to be here. He's an illegal alien. So when you keep saying return, because you've been spun up by the open borders advocates, you all seem to be operating under the illusion that he would be able to come to the United States and just continue to live here illegally. That's not an option available to him. His only choices in life are to live in El Salvador or to live in another country. That's it. There's no other option, legally or otherwise, because he came to our country illegally. Do you understand that?
Stephen, can I ask, as a matter of policy, does the administration believe that immigration judges, because they're under DOJ, that their orders can be overruled by what the administration wants? Is that a general matter of policy?
Well, actually, so specifically, the Attorney General has authority to overrule the immigration courts, and that's actually by statute. Yes. Other questions?
Stephen, on the gold card, the President and Secretary Lutnick have suggested they're lining up applicants already. How many people do you expect to be tagged to this program when the President announces it this week, if he actually announces it this week?
I'll let Secretary Lutnick provide that update, but I appreciate that.
The White House administration is going to deport 1 million undocumented people.
Much more than that. Much more.
Stephen, also of the 10 alleged gang members that Secretary Rubio said were sent to El Salvador over the weekend, what sort of due process did they get as mandated by the Supreme Court?
Well, you're talking about the alien enemies?
Yes, the alien.
So first of all, a number of those are MS-13. So again, those are just standard removals of El Salvadorians to El Salvador. And without,
what evidence did you provide that they were MS-13?
Okay, so we seem to be confused about this. Illegal aliens from El Salvador, again, get deported to El Salvador. Do you all appreciate that like tens of thousands of El Salvadorians have been deported to El Salvador? You seem to be under the impression that El Salvadorians living in our country illegally just get to stay here. They don't. They get arrested and deported. Then the fact that they're MS-13 just puts an extra priority on our deporting them. But we would deport someone to El Salvador regardless of whether or not they were MS-13 if they were here illegally. That's just an extra, because of the priority on public safety threats, we're emphasizing the removals of gang members, in this case, foreign terrorist organization gang members. But as to your other question, they went through all of the due process, as you would call it, that is required by law. So what I find so mystifying is that I've been talking to you all for a very long time. I legitimately, in my entire, going back years actually, in my entire professional life, I've never received this many questions from the media about an American who was raped or murdered by an illegal alien. Like, legitimately never. And all of you who are enjoying your lives and doing quite well, if you had children and you were living near any of these people, you would move away immediately. You would call the police immediately. You would call us and ask us to make you and your family safer immediately. And you thank your lucky stars every night that you have enough means and enough money not to live in communities where, say, illegal alien pedophiles offend and reoffend and keep reoffending and keep reoffending. There's an expression there, but for the grace of God go I.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing that these people are the individuals who are bringing you information. They don't have a clue to what they're talking about or what they write about. They're just a bunch of NPCs who were told what to write, how to write it, and that's what they do. They have no insight on what they're writing about. But they want to make you feel as if you're an idiot because you don't buy their propaganda. There's no independent media. You have the Democrat propaganda machine that sits around and looks for ways to debase conservatives or anyone that isn't part of the swamp. They're coming to get you. So you will never hear positive stories about the Trump administration. You will never hear positive stories about any true conservative trying to uphold the Constitution or values. If you believe that there are 150 different genders, they love you. But then they'll tell you, oh, you should follow the science. They don't believe in science. They believe in activism. The fact that no one knew what a withholding order is. They didn't want to recognize this man has been deported. He is a criminal illegal. He has been associated with sex, with human trafficking. He is part of MS-13. He has MS-13 tattoos on his hands. He was caught with known MS-13 gang members. He has a restraining order that his wife took out on him, and she showed that he had beaten her. And Democrats are trying to die on this hill, trying to bring this man to America, talking about they're bringing him home. His home is El Salvador. He belongs in a cage. That's where he is, and that's where he's going to stay. They can take as many trips as they want to El Salvador to saddle up next to this loser. But I like the fact that they're showing you who they are. They have nothing to give or to present to the American people to improve the lives of Americans. They want to fight for people who are non-citizens. And I hope the voters in these districts understand that, hey man, they're not working for you. They're out there looking out for their own interests. They will go to El Salvador for a criminal. They don't care about the people who have lost their lives, the women who have been beaten and killed. They don't care about the children who've been violated. They don't care about the men who have been deleted, because you have to be very careful what you say on YouTube. They don't care about any of these Americans. You have people like Lake and Reilly and the young lady who met with Trump the other day. They don't care about that. This woman lives in his district. He's over in El Salvador. He did not even give her a call about the loss of her daughter, who was walking down a trail near her home and a mother of 5. And the media is not going to tell you about this because they're more concerned with preserving illegals in our country. And you have people like my family members who are feeling sorry for people who are being deported at the expense of their own tax dollars and their own safety. You have a deficit here. And the fact that you have people on Social Security who don't belong here, welfare who don't belong here, being put in jails that we have to fund who don't belong here, using our social structure in this country, putting more pressure on it, which adds to your debt. So you have people who run here crying, oh, the debt is going away at $37 trillion. Why do you care? You're not trying to stop these people. Matter of fact, you're condoning, so you're part of the problem. Take a back seat, man. But I commend Stephen Miller. He basically schooled these people, but you know what? They were still asking dumb questions. These people believe that they're right. And if you don't believe them, if you don't want to believe their garbage, they will attack you. They're very violent. If you don't believe that men who dress up as women belong in women's sports, then they will attack you. They will attack your character. They will dox you. They will cancel you. It just shows that Democrats hate women. They don't trust women. They don't want women to be women. They don't want women to act like women. They want women to become men. They want women to behave as men. This is why Hollywood makes movies about women in male arenas. They make women into men. They want women to be warriors. They want women to save the world. They want women to not be mothers. They want women to come out here and slap men around and to conduct business. And those are masculine activities. I don't care what you think about, but women aren't made to conduct business and to be masculine and to be aggressive. That's not what women are for. That's what men for. This is why women live soft realities, because men go to war, because men fight battles. Men go through the day-to-days to make sure that women live comfortably. You cannot have feminism if men didn't defend it. You can't have feminism unless men were for it. And that's the fault of men, because men are allowing women to live outside of their feminine. And it's soft men who run around saying, we have strong women. There's no such thing as strong women. There are just too many weak men. And you have these women who are out here telling you, I don't want to be married. I don't want children. Then what's your purpose? What are you doing? You're going to look like Oprah with a lot of money, no family to leave it to, and nothing to show for your life but some paper. And you have Democrats over here, especially in Maine. And this next story with Reilly Gaines is about Maine and their governor defying the courts with keeping men out of women's sports. Let's take a look.
Joining us now,
Thanks.
Former NCAA swimmer who was one of the first female athletes to speak out against men in women's sports, Reilly Gaines. It's great to have you here, and we all saw you behind Attorney General Bondi today. Want to just ask you what it was like to feel there, to the feeling that you had when you were standing there after you have faced so much backlash for speaking out on this particular issue.
Of course, it's always an honor to stand alongside our wonderful Attorney General, Secretary McMahon, the brave female athletes. You see Representative Laurel Libby from the main house there. But truthfully, how I felt in being there was frustrated. I feel so angered that, I mean, I personally have been fighting this fight now for 3 years. I know others much longer than me. I feel so angered that here we are as women basically begging. We're begging at this point for fair treatment. We're begging for equal opportunities. We're begging for privacy in areas of undressing. We're begging for safety in our sports and beyond. When you put it like that, what we're asking for is the bare minimum. We want equality. We want the chance to compete and to succeed. So truthfully, I'm frustrated that we have to keep doing this.
Yeah, and Governor Janet Mills saying, well, there's only 2 transgenders in the entire state. So why is the president cutting off federal funding for a nutrition program? Many others would say it doesn't matter if there are 2, Reilly, or 200. At the end of the day, it's a Title IX violation. It's unfair with respect to competitiveness and the kids who are playing.
And that is the slippery slope of liberalism. There's only 2. There shouldn't be any. And this is how you get black communities with crime being rampant. Because the Democrats say, well, you know, we don't want to destroy their futures by putting them in jail forever, but they're committing adult crimes. They're destroying lives. They're destroying communities, but you want to be soft on them. The fact that these people always use this sort of, I call it the Eve factor. You know, when Eve went to Adam and said, why not? Why can't we just? And this is what Democrats do. It's just 2. What's the problem? Who is it going to hurt? Well, let it be your child that becomes injured competing against a male. Let your child lose after practicing and training hard, just to lose against a boy who shouldn't be in competition with her. We want to sit here and say that we want to build women up. We want to give them self-respect and self-pride. But then you destroy it by saying, hey, you're good, but you're not that good because there's a guy over here dressed like a girl that beat the heck out of you. He's breaking all your records. You can't even compete with him, but we're going to call him a girl too. Matter of fact, we're going to call a guy the woman of the year. We're going to say that a guy can have a baby when it's actually a woman who has a uterus getting pregnant, but she's taking hormones to be masculine. These people live in bizarro world, and we allow them to shape our reality. I say Democrats need to be ousted from our government. Their views need to be banned because they're detrimental to the mental sanctity of individuals. This is why children are so confused, because liberalism has destroyed our children. You can't have sane people living in society that believe that men and women are the same, that there are multiple genders, and that a boy can automatically just cut off all of his parts and become a woman because he says so. Nature has a part to play in this. And nature says, no, you're wrong. Because a man cutting off his parts will never have a child. And a woman adding parts will never produce a child. Because your DNA is your DNA. If you have a problem with your DNA, that is a you problem, not a society problem. But they're trying to make us a society problem out of the fringe group of misfits who hate them, who have a problem with self-loathing, gender dysphoria. And they want to bring these people to the forefront of our society. And the majority of people are saying, no, you won't.
To compete and win, but it's also dangerous. And there are so many different faces to women who've been hurt because their opponents are stronger than them. They're physically not able to compete against them.
Of course, I've talked to girls who have had their teeth knocked out from field hockey incidents where a shot was slapped at their face, all of their teeth, I mean, had to undergo facial reconstruction surgery to reconstruct their jaw. I've talked to girls who have suffered career-ending injuries. I've talked to girls who have had, I mean, permanent brain injuries in volleyball and softball and other sports. And so I guess my question for Governor Mills is, okay, then how many does it take? 2, is that not enough for you? 3, 5, is it 5 girls being injured? Is it an entire Olympic team being made up of men, women's teams at that? So I guess my question for Governor Mills, is there a finite number before you begin to care about the safety, the fairness, the integrity of sports, again, for women and girls?
Yeah, well, she's been defying this from the get-go, and she told Trump, you know, we'll see you in court. And he laughed and he said, you know, I'll see you there. It's not his first court battle, as we all know. So that's, you know, the issue that's playing out right now in front of us. But I want to ask you about polling, because when you talk to voters, most voters say that they want men out of women's sports, that they agree with the executive order. So why do you think the far left fights so hard on this particular issue? Why?
Because they just don't care. Democrats are engaged in social engineering. They don't care about what you think. They just want your vote. They need you to be their experimental idiots. They need you to vote them in so they can go against your will and push their agenda. No one votes for what Democrats are advocating because what they advocate is anti-American. They take your tax dollars. They increase your taxes. They make your life unlivable. They want you to be dependent upon the government. They need slaves. And how do you make a slave? You either make a slave by getting work without pay, or you pay a man only to keep him indebted to you. Let me say that again. To make a slave, you must work a man without pay, or you pay a man not to work. Let that sink in. Democrats want illegals over here because they're not going to pay them properly. And they're paying Americans not to work. And if you're not working and the government is your daddy, you're dependent on the government. And if you're working and not getting paid, you still can't function in society, so you're still dependent on the government. You're asking for help. You're always asking for help, or you're dependent. And this is what the Democrat Party is all about. It doesn't like America. This is why they're allowing China to fly balloons over our country. This is why they're able to allow China to maintain a trade deficit with us and make our medications, make all of our products, build a military on our debt. And they don't care. They're not concerned. Joe Biden wasn't concerned about China because they already paid him. You have all these other politicians that are out there kowtowing to China because China has already got them. And China is the only country, is one of the only countries that come here to steal our intellectual property. They pay people to spy on America, steal our ideas, send information back to China. And we're being nice to these people? China's not our friend. They're our enemies. The only reason why we engage with them is because of economics. And it's not going to be in our interest to continue to do business with China because they are plotting to overtake us. They're plotting to destroy us. And they're infiltrating America at an alarming rate. They're buying property next to our military installations. They have people in our companies that are stealing our intellectual property. You can't have someone that's competing with you to basically supplant you all in your business. And you can't be dependent on that person because they want to replace you. And this, we have politicians who are willing to take the money of the Chinese so they can live well. But the fact of the matter is that they're sacrificing their country and their people for it. And we need them out of office. Eric Swalwell should have been gone a long time ago. The fact that you had Mitch McConnell with interest in China, because his wife is also Chinese, he should have been gone a long time ago. Joe Biden sold out to the Chinese, should have been gone a long time ago. They should have called him out for treason, but they didn't. They had a lot of information on Joe Biden, Ukraine, China, all over, and the Russian oligarch his son took money from. He should have been gone a long time ago. But they allowed him to stay in because a lot of these politicians are beholden to the Chinese government. And people who like to use the government against their political opponents should be punished as well. And in that segue, we're talking about Leticia James, the woman who went after Donald Trump on the loan debacle. Trump took out a loan with the bank, put up Mar-a-Lago as collateral, and the bank got paid back. Trump finished his deal. And the state of New York, with Leticia James, said, hey, you overvalued your property. We're going to punish you, which is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Saying that he lied about his property. Well, the banks have their own auditors, and they didn't have a problem with it. So why does the state of New York have a problem with it? The deal is completed. There is no one harmed in this deal. So why are you involving yourself? Because we have to find a way to attack Donald Trump, and we're going to try to take his money and take his freedom. But funny thing, Leticia James is now coming under fire for mortgage fraud, lying on an application, and I'll let you listen to it.
New York Attorney General Leticia James' entire world is crashing down around her as we speak, and it is something to see. On Tuesday, the Department of Justice received a criminal referral from the U.S. Federal Housing.
I'm sorry, this is a very hideous looking woman. This hair hat hooligan is out here trying to attack Donald Trump. And she is so scripted whenever she's talking. She's just annoying. And the simple fact that she sits here and she gets people to vote, these people support this woman. It just shows you how silly people can be. And this woman ran on the premise of getting Donald Trump no matter what.
Finance agency against Tish James. This allegation is one of the most ironic that we have ever heard. Tish James, who spent the last few years alleging Donald Trump's business was messing with asset valuations to get lower interest rates, has allegedly committed fraud to get lower interest rates. Also an array of other likely crimes. Again, this is an unbelievable story tonight. It almost seems too good to be true, but the evidence looks to be rock solid. We're going to talk to the guy that dug it up here in just a couple of minutes, the man that found all of this. The media is now on the hunt for Tish James. She's being stalked. Cameras were outside of her home earlier today. Her piece is now over, and it's so well deserved. It appears New York's Attorney General has lied about her principal residency, lied about rental income, lied about the number of units in a townhouse she owns to gain a lower interest rate. Also indications she flew private on taxpayer dime for campaign events, and claimed that her dad was her husband for special benefits on a mortgage. There are an array of allegations here, and they all seem very, very solid. Again, it's an amazing story. And knowing all of this, and she did know all of this because she's the one that did it, here is how she has sounded for the last couple years when she talks about Donald Trump.
Running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
And I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but no enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you.
Trash.
Trash. Couldn't have said it better. Just trash. She's just absolute trash. You know, these people abuse their authority and they think they're above the law and they project everything they do. She sat here and committed mortgage fraud. She lied about her residence. She said she lived in Virginia when she's in New York. She's the AG. She should lose her position. Then she said that her property in New York was 4 bedrooms when it was actually 5, when she would have gotten a different type of mortgage, a different mortgage rate, and the fact that it would have had to been considered commercial property. So she's lying all the way around. And she said her father was her husband. You can't make this crap up. This woman broke all the rules. And she thinks that she's above the law. If Pam Bondi doesn't throw the book at this woman, if they don't charge her and throw her in jail, I have no confidence in Pam Bondi. This is an open and shut case. They have the documentation. Her signature is on the documentation. Drag her into court, call her out, throw her in jail, make an example of this thing. And maybe she'll wear her natural hair when she's in jail. But the simple fact of the matter is, these people were heartless. They abuse power. They think that they are above the law and that no one can touch them. Donald Trump needs to touch them. He really does. Because if he doesn't, he's going to lose the confidence of the people. I don't care what Donald Trump says. If you're not throwing these people who went after you and violate their oath of office and violate the law against you, you're setting these people to come after you when you're out of office. And you're letting people understand, hey, I'm not really serious when I say these people should pay. Then everyone is above the law if these people don't go to jail. She needs to go to jail because you're going to make people think that, hey, you know what? I'm not really serious about this thing. So she needs to go to jail. There's a laundry list of people who need to go to jail. And that classic debate with Hillary Clinton, he says, someone with Donald Trump's temperament shouldn't be in power. He said, because you go to jail, you'd be in jail. And he let her off the hook. I don't care if she was Bill Clinton's wife. Bill Clinton was corrupt as well. Barack Obama's corrupt. There's a slew of Democrats who are corrupt. But they're sitting around bragging and projecting their behavior onto other people. Adam Schiff is a criminal who should have been in jail a long time ago. And if these people don't see justice, you're basically just talking in the wind. Until that time, we're sitting back, we're going to wait for it, but I don't think it's going to happen because I think everyone's too afraid to pull the trigger on getting these people true justice that they deserve. But what do I know? Let me know what you think. Drop me a line. Drop me a comment. Until that next time, this is Ace Capone. Peace. And I'm gone.